Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Morris. I'm the Director of Business Development for GTS Distribution's Gaming Division. We're here today with another one of our retailer to publisher webinars, and we are with one of our most experienced partners and one of our best partners, Rio Grande Games. And we are here with Ken Hill and Scott. We're going to be talking about a couple of different games, which are really, really cool. One of them you more than likely have heard of a couple of times in the past. We're going to talk about Underwater Cities, which is one of my personal favorite games. It is very highly strategic. It is very high strategy type game, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've played several times, and if you had that kind of terraforming Mars, high end strategy kind of gamers, it's perfect style for them. And then we're also going to talk about a new release coming up that's available for pre-order called Butterfly. I will take a second and put both of the SKUs for the two games that are on sale this week into the chat so you know. But just so everyone knows, those two games are going to be available to retailers for 52% off MSRP this week. So great opportunity to both pre-order a new game that's a family game, that'll be great for the holidays, and get a kind of tried and true game for the holidays as well, which is really good. And just as a reminder, that 52% will be all week, so between right now on Monday the 21st and next Monday the 28th. As I tell everybody, all your questions are on the table. Anything you'd like to ask, feel free to let us know. You can hover over your video window and there's a little chat bubble. You're welcome to ask questions to either all the panelists, which are myself, Scott, Ken, and Jessica, our sales director, or you can do all panelists and attendees so everyone that's attending the webinar can see. But either way, we're happy to answer any of your questions you got as we go along and learn about not just these two games, but a lot of other things that are awesome from the Rio Grande catalog. So with that, I'm going to take my face that was made for radio and let it be quiet. And Ken, I will kick it over to you and let you take over, sir.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Ken Hill, and I work for Rio Grande Games. And glad that everybody could take some time out of their schedule and spend some time with us. First time we've done one of these, so really excited to be here and hope to do many more of these in the future. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully everybody sees my presentation here.
Perfectly.
So for those of you who may not be aware, there we go. So who is Rio Grande Games? So 21 plus years in the board game business. We were founded in 1998 by Jay Tummilson, who had a vision to bring European board games, German board games to the US market, and started working on that when he was still with Mayfair Games back in the mid 90s. He was one of the main people responsible for bringing a game over called The Settlers of Catan that you may have heard of. So Jay left Mayfair and went out on his own to do this, and we've been doing it ever since. So we like to consider ourselves an industry leader. We have Dominion, Race for the Galaxy, Power Grid, many of these classic titles that have really driven the German game revolution over the past 21 years. So one of the things that we always like to point out is that Rio Grande is a very traditional company in the sense that we do not do direct sales, we do not do Kickstarters, and we don't believe in exclusives. So we are very, very strongly a major supporter of the distribution channel and, more importantly, the brick and mortar game stores.
And I'm 99% sure you just endeared yourself to everybody on this call. So that is one of the most important statements I think anyone could ever make for our brick and mortar retailers.
That's right. So that's one of the things that our founder, Jay Tummilson, he's founded his business on it, and it is kind of an old school way to look at it from this day and age of all the Kickstarters and everything that's been happening, but we still do things the old fashioned way, and we really understand that the lifeblood of our industry is still the brick and mortar game stores, and people coming into a game store being able to put their hands on a game, learn about it, and walk out the door with their purchase. So with that said, I want to share with you a little bit of what we've got coming up just real quickly before we get to the main event here. We do have 2 new Power Grid maps that are available now or will be available very soon. Middle East, South Africa, which is a brand new map, which is for the new version of Power Grid Recharged. We also have the Northern Europe and UK version of Recharge version of the map, which is a map which is now available. Concordia, which is a very popular product of ours, which is difficult for us to keep in stock because it sells so quickly. We just got a very large restock. We should be able to keep this in stock and available for retailers to purchase for quite some time. It just came in within the last week, so it should be able to be ordered and it is available. And we're going to talk about Butterfly, which is a new product that is one of our own creations. Talk about that shortly. In November, we have Queens and The Way of the Bear, which are two partner products that we're bringing in. We'll talk about those. We have Robin of Locksley, which is designed by Uwe Rosenberg, who designed a game called Agricola and several other very popular long-standing titles. We're very excited to have that one. And then we also have a restock of the Roll for the Galaxy Rivalry expansion, which came out earlier this year, which has also proved to be very, very popular. In December, we have the Underwater Cities expansion, which I'll talk about a little bit more. We have a new game from Vladimir Sushi, who also designed Underwater Cities and several other games, including Last Will and many others that were previously published by Czech Games, called Monster Baby Rescue. Sounds like a kid's game, but really isn't. I think this is going to do really well for us, and we're really excited to be partnering with Delicious Games to bring these games to the U.S. market. We also have a restock of Concordia Venus coming. There are a new expansion for Concordia that has two versions, which we can talk about. And then we also have a new title called Pictures, which will also be available in December. Okay, so.
Hey, Ken, just before you get started on Underwater Cities, just want to let everybody know all the games that Ken just went through are all available on GTS's website, so you can pre-order any of the new ones that are coming out. If you have any questions on them, let us know. More than happy to help you out from sales rep side or from my side if you want to reach out and get a hold of me. But everything should be available to you. I just double checked and checked everything on the website. Everything is active. So all those awesome things between the reprints and the new items are all available for you to order as well.
All right, very good. Thanks, Scott. All right, so Underwater Cities, if you're not familiar with it, it is a 90 to 120 minute playtime. It is definitely in the medium to heavy range. Customers who really enjoy Terraforming Mars, we know that that's a hot seller. We'll love Underwater Cities. They're kind of cut from the same cloth, but Underwater Cities is a unique experience, a lot different than Terraforming Mars. There's not quite so much card drafting. Those of us who play both games will tell you that I think there's a lot less luck of the draw in Underwater Cities, and there's a lot more. You do get, quote, bad cards in Underwater Cities. I think you have many other ways to mitigate your bad luck, if you would. Although I don't think that there's very many bad cards in Underwater Cities. There are literally hundreds of cards, just like Terraforming Mars. Every game is going to be very different, and it's got a very unique action selection mechanic, which keeps basically all the players engaged even when other people are playing, because you're very interested in what your opponents are doing during your turn, just as much as they are interested in theirs. So this has been a terrific seller for us, and been kind of a smash hit when it came out from Essen last year. Has been nominated for several awards and done really, really well for us, and we're really happy to have it with us. The box cover here that I'm showing is the second printing of Underwater Cities, which you can see from the upper right-hand corner, does have a promo included. We did add some additional player boards are a little thicker in this version, and also there's some additional components that we added to try to improve the play experience. Okay, so how to play Underwater Cities. Each player is basically developing your own underwater city. Each turn you have a hand of cards. These cards are colored, and each of the colors matches an action selection on the board. Each action can only be used one time in a round by one player. Once that action has been chosen by a player, then that action is no longer available. So if the color of your action matches the color of the card played, you not only get a chance to use the action on the board that you selected, but you can also use the action on the card. So you have multiple cards in your hand, so there's lots of challenging decisions that you have to make. Like, oh, I really want to play this card, but this action may not be the one that I'm really interested in this time around, but I can use that action for something else. Tons of decisions, keeps players interested. And again, if you've got customers who really enjoy Terraforming Mars, I think this is an easy cross-sell for them. It's a terrific game. Same price point as Terraforming Mars. It's a retail of $69.95, which for a heavy game, there's a lot in the box. Got some high quality components in there, and I think it's an easy an easy cross sell for the people who love Terraforming Mars. The game ends after 3 production rounds, and during the production rounds, everybody is basically producing their items, and which they're going to use for the next round in order to be able to build up their underwater city. So, terrific game, has gotten a lot of good press, and it's one of those things that people who enjoy the longer, heavier strategy games will really love this one. Underwater Cities New Discoveries. This is coming out at Essen this week. For those who are not aware, the Essen Spiel is going on Thursday through Sunday this week. Underwater Cities is being released there. The new expansion we should have it in early December. Late November is probably a little bit optimistic. I think anybody who currently owns the base game of Underwater Cities is going to really want to have the expansion. Well, we've been working with our partner to work on the design and testing for this, and I've played the expansion personally several times in its pre-production state, and everyone who owns the base game is going to want a copy of the expansion. There's just no question about it. So it's going to add additional cards to the base game. The player boards will be upgraded, so that now be a 3D player board, so a dual layer board, so that the small pieces that you have in front of you on your player mat will there'll be little slots so that your stuff doesn't move around. And everybody loves those 3D player boards. Anybody who's seen the upgrades that people do for Great Western Trail or Underwater Cities will understand what I'm talking about, but these are going to be right in the box, and they will be essentially a replacement for the player boards that are in the base game. Plus, there's going to be additional new player boards that will be exclusively for the expansion. So there's another great feature for this is sometimes people will complain that Underwater Cities is a little too long. So the designer took this information, and they now have sort of a quick start that lops about 15 minutes off of the start of the game, so that instead of playing 10 rounds, you're only playing 9. But the first round is sort of simulated by the fact that you're getting a bunch of resources and some additional player powers. This will really freshen up the game, make it run a little shorter, and I think everyone who enjoys the game will really appreciate the fact that they can play it at a little bit faster time. There's also several new mechanics that have been added. These can be mixed and matched and included in the game at the player's will. There's a new museum mechanic that allows players to discover things while they're building their underwater city and place them in a museum for additional points. There's lots of new features in terms of new content that expand the base game. It's really going to be something that, if you've got customers who have purchased the game, they're going to want the expansion, no question. It's really a nice expansion. All right, and at the other end of the spectrum, we have a new title from Steve & Glenn called Butterfly. This is a very quick playing game. the box says 30 to 45 minutes. That's probably a little too long. It's really more like 15 to 30. We listed the ages of is 9+. This game is really nice as a light family game, or it can be played as a deeper abstract game. So one of the things that I really enjoy about this is if I sit down and play it with somebody who's just a very casual gamer, they understand the rules, can quickly play, and they have a good time with it, and it's a lot of fun. If I sit down and play with other hardcore gamers, they also can learn the game very quickly, but this game with hardcore gamers becomes quite a bit more challenging because, as you'll see in a minute, you're not only trying to make a move that will help you win the game, but you're also probably going to keep an eye out for doing something that'll help your opponents out too much or put them in a situation where they don't have a very good choice. So we think the art is really great. We added some player boards to this, and it really looks nice on the table. And we think the cover is beautiful. Will be very attractive on the shelf and will hopefully attract some attention. So there's a wooden hedgehog piece inside the box. It's about 2 inches high, very nice. He's got a long nose, and that tells the hedgehog which direction he's moving. So essentially you can see on the player board here, he's kind of right there about 10 o'clock on the clock there. On your turn, it's very simple. You either turn the hedgehog to the left or right or keep him moving in the same direction. You move to a tile and collect it, removing it from the board, putting it on your player board. You want to grab a tile that's going to help you, but hopefully not leave your really nice tile for your opponent when you're done moving. Again, you could learn this game in probably 5 minutes is probably even a little bit too long. 2 minutes is probably more the teaching time. Very easy rule set. It's 2 pages front and back. And as you can see, this is a player board. There's 5 of these included, 1 for every player, a potential player in the game. There are certain colors, different colors of butterflies. Each one of those has a value associated with them. You collect one of those, you just score the points. For a flower, there's a number of flowers in the game. Each one is worth a number that you collected. So if you collect 3 flowers, and then each one of those is worth 3 points, it's worth a total of 9 points. The dragonfly here, you only score the one with the highest value. So you can collect 3 or 4 during the game, but you only score the one with the highest value. With the firefly, you only score the lowest value. So again, some strategy involved here where you have to make sure that if you collect the high point value one, you have to make sure that you don't get another one during the game, otherwise you're going to lose that. The grasshopper, you only score the last one collected. So the other tiles hop away. Finally, there's the wasp. He's kind of a mean critter. He's only negative points, and of course, you want to avoid those, but sometimes you just have to take one. And then there are bee and honeycomb tiles. A honeycomb tile is not worth anything without a bee, and a bee is actually worth negative points if you don't collect the honeycomb. Again, very, very straightforward game, a lot of fun, good for families, and hopefully enough challenge there for gamers who are just looking for a filler, nice attractive game to play with a few players while maybe they're waiting for the rest of the group to arrive. So Butterfly is going to be available here very soon, and we hope you'll give it a try. So bee games seem to be quite the rage all of a sudden, and we have our own bee game. This is a product called Queens. We picked this up from one of our partners. This is designed by Bruno Cathala. Bruno Cathala has done a number of games, including 5 Tribes is probably his best known game. Art is done by Vincent Dutre, it's a super attractive product. It's tile placement, very simple rules, probably about a 5-minute teach. Plays great with 2 players. And I think the art in the box, very attractive, looks great on the table. I think this is being released this week at Essen. Hopefully a lot of buzz will be generated for it. And I think these should be in by mid-November.
I like the subtlety there of hopefully a lot of buzz will be generated.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Good.
Yeah, all right, we have another game called The Way of the Bear. This is one of the games that I really love. This game. I've been wanting to bring this one to the U.S. market. We finally got an opportunity to do this. This is a terrific game. Again, a very easy teach, but looks great. In fact, I'll go off camera here, or I'll go away from the slideshow and show you some of the art. Just a beautiful game. Looks great on the shelf. Looks great on the table. There's 88 of these little resin bear statues that you get to manipulate on the board. It looks great, and the components are super nice. Very, very easy to learn. I think there's a lot of challenges here. Plays 2 to 4 and about 30 minutes. 45 minutes is probably only if you're playing with people who are really deliberate, but we're like very excited to have this one in the catalog. And again, coming in mid-November, just in time for the holidays. So, and then kind of open up the kimono here, give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going to happen in 2020. 2020 is going to be a huge year for us. We have a lot of really interesting titles coming down the pike. Probably the thing that we're most excited about is Dice Realms by Tom Lehman. The best way to describe Dice Realms is Dominion with customizable dice. It's a very simple game, learned very quickly. This comes with over 600 individually customized die faces. You're going to start just like Dominion. You're going to start off with a very basic set of dice, and then your dice are going to be able to be changed. If you're familiar with our previous game, Rattlebones, these customizable dice, you actually are popping off die faces and replacing die faces onto your dice. Tom's been working on this game for many years. We're super excited to have it. It's a beautiful production. It comes with customizable. It comes with custom dice trays to hold all of the 600 plus dice faces. Going to be a super nice product, and we should have that in early 2020. We're just finalizing the rules, but this game has been under development for quite a while. And of course, Tom Lehman is the designer of Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy, and he's a super strong designer, lots of name recognition. This one is going to be, we're really excited about this one. Going to be a terrific title. New Frontiers is also a Tom Lehman game. Came out about in early 2019. Was a huge hit for us. We asked Tom to go ahead and push up the production of the expansion. If you're not familiar with New Frontiers, it's essentially Race for the Galaxy, the board game. And we're really excited to have an expansion coming out for that. An expansion will be very similar to what you get with Concordia and the Power Grid maps. It'll simply be some additional punch board and additional boards that will be shrink wrapped with an overlay, and customers will just simply buy it and pop it in their box. Real easy upgrade, and don't have a price point on that yet, but it should be out in early 2020. Also, we have a new Dominion expansion. Can't say much about it except that it should be available in spring. Everyone is always excited for a new Dominion expansion. I've seen some of the art for this, and it looks terrific. So very excited to have that one. We have two big expert games which are coming, and I've got the covers here. One is called Beyond the Sun. This is going to be a first-time designer. We first played the game back in probably about a year ago, and we were very excited to see it. It's only gotten better during the development cycle. Franz Vohwinkel is doing the art, and it's going to look great. super happy with the way the components have turned out. Looking forward to this one, probably towards convention season time, like May or June timeframe. And then finally, we have another huge game called Space Station Phoenix. We've been working on this one for more than 3 years. Terrific game. Can't wait for it to be out because we've been working on it a long time. This is, again, another game that we're super excited about. Can't say much more about it except that we hope to have it by convention season. And then we've been working with some more partners and trying to line up some more partner products. We've got more announcements about those coming. I just think it's going to be a huge year for us in 2020, and be really glad for everybody to participate with us and come along for the ride, because I think it's going to be a terrific year.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to point out real quick is that if you were to look at GTS's partners and all of the different publishers that we work with, Rio Grande has consistently been in the top 10 in terms of number of units and revenue that you guys produce. So that tells us, quite frankly, as simple as I can state it, your games sell, and they do very well. I think a big part of that goes back to what you mentioned at the beginning about not having the Kickstarter piece, not having exclusive piece, focusing on the brick and mortar retailers and what can support them and help them the most, which is really, really great. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew kind of where things laid out with us, which is really, really good. There was a question in chat real quick about demo games. So right now, Rio is not a member of the GTS formal demo program. Ken or Scott, is that anything you guys can talk to? Do you have a demo program that people can reach out to you about?
Yes, we do. So if retailers want demo copies, they can email us or email our website or email me, Scott, at riograndegames.com. If we have a scratch and dent copy of the game that they're interested in, we provide it no charge. The store will have to pay for the shipping. If we do not have scratch and dents, and our scratch and dent inventory literally changes every single day, if we don't, we will sell a demo copy to a retailer at 75% off MSRP.
Okay, great. That's very similar to what ours is too. So it's just something that they can reach out to you directly and get all that set up, which is awesome. I imagine especially the new one, Butterfly, would be a great demo game for the holidays. Very quick and easy to teach, but colorful and light enough that people walking in that may be new foot traffic walking in for the holidays are going to look at that and go, "Oh, what's this? My kids would love this," and things like that. So that is awesome. I can say this as someone who has played Underwater Cities over a dozen times. While it may not be the easiest game to teach in a demo, it has an awesome table presence. And when it is out on a demo table, even if it's something that may take a couple of extra minutes, it's an eye catcher because of all the different colors and all the different actions going on. It's one of those games that when you see it, at least from my opinion, you see it, you want to know what's going on. You want to learn more about it, which is really, really cool. So
wait till you see the expansion, Scott.
I know. I saw the box cover is like, it's a tease. It's like, it's really cool, but yeah, I'm a big high strategy gamer myself in my personal life, and when I remember when I first sat down to play Underwater Cities, a very good friend of mine in Dallas taught me, and he goes, so just take everything you know about terraforming Mars and throw it out the window. He goes, people compare it. They're two different games. They're completely two different games. And I was like, okay, and we got into it and had an absolute blast. I lost by 2 points to him. I was like, it was so competitively close, but it was super, super fun. Very, very cool game. So, and that's also another one with the, because the domes alone, right? Just the little plastic domes are enough to catch people's eye, but then you have colors and things like that. Derek has a question here. He said, speaking of the expansion, what is 3D about the new player boards? That's a good question.
Well, the new player boards are essentially, 3D is kind of I'm not sure I like that way.
Technically,
I would call
3D, right?
I would call them. I don't have them here. I'd put them on camera. I don't have them yet. No one does because they're actually literally just being printed this week. But essentially, they'll be. There are some. Well, here I can grab my copy of Underwater Cities. There's a player board right on top. But on the player boards now, there are places where you hold there's a lot of round pieces, including the, and of course, here we go. My lighting's not great here, but so you can see these circles here. This is where you put stuff, and in the new player boards, there'll actually be dual layer. So there's a little divot for the pieces to actually sit.
That's
so
nice.
So you don't actually, if you bump the table or something like that, they don't go sprawling all over the table. So there's going to be 8 of these in the new in the expansion that will replace the ones that come with the current game. Plus there'll be new ones for that have the expansion features themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. So anyone that has the original game will be able to replace their original ones with the new ones.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's going to be kind of a must-own for people who have the current game. They're going to really want these upgraded player boards, and I think that's really going to drive sales of the. I know that we've had a tremendous amount of interest, people wanting to know when it's going to be out, when's it going to be available, and so we're doing our best to get those in as quickly as we can. So.
Well, that's awesome. I think, from my perspective, anything that can make the gameplay experience the best it possibly can be for the players, that usually leads to more loyalty, I guess is the right way to say it, or just more stickiness with the players. So I know so many people already that Underwater Cities is kind of a staple for them in their catalog and their board game collection, that, making it even easier to bring new players in and, tell them, hey, you don't have to worry about, your board falling over or anything like that. It's a small thing, it's a little thing, but it's one of those little details that can really kind of set things apart.
Yep, and people who play Terraforming Mars will spend hundreds of dollars pimping out their Terraforming Mars. So we'll not make them do that.
That is always, it's a completely different topic for a different webinar, but it has always amazed me that people will buy a $40 game and spend $100 like on all these accessories. Yeah. And then sometimes at the same time say, well, games are too expensive, which is kind of funny. So it's an interesting industry for sure. So very cool. So I think
I'll just take a quick minute here to show you this is Way of the Bear. And again, sorry.
Yeah.
Look on the inside cover is more art on the inside.
Nice.
This beautiful art here. And here's my little bear statues. Hold those up so everybody can see them.
Oh, those are cute. Those are really cool.
They're very cute. These are about 3/4 of an inch high, I'd say, and there's 88 of them in the box.
And are those wood or are those plastic?
They're resin, actually.
Okay.
So
great.
This is the main pieces that you handle during the game. So it's a very tactile.
Nice.
Tactile, and we got a little bag full of them here, and got a little bear on the outside of the bag. So
it's got a lot of character to it. That's really cool.
It does, and in fact, even the insert is I don't know if you can see that.
That's a little bear. That's awesome.
So it's a terrific game. It's been I played it the first time a few months ago, and I'm really excited to be bringing this one.
So Jessica had a really good question, which will help some of the retailers on this one too. So a lot of times with games, the ages don't necessarily mean how developed the player needs to be in terms of like intellectually to play the game. Usually 99% of the time, the ages on the box are around safety certifications and how small the pieces are and things like that. So in thinking of Way of the Bear, how young of a player do you think could grasp Way of the Bear and still play it?
I would say there are no product safety people here. I'd easily a smart 8-year-old could handle it, and definitely a 10-year-old. There's not the mechanics are very straightforward. So I would say that if we were going to label this for a true age, I'd say probably 10 plus would be accurate. Nice. And even really with Butterfly, I'd say 9+ is probably even a little. We actually debated quite a bit. One of the reasons why Butterfly says 9+ is that we actually made the decision to go ahead and have the product tested. So
great.
It will be tested for, and so it'll be certified to have that age range on it.
That's awesome.
But Way of the Bear is definitely something that is a great family game. Looks great on the table. The board itself actually varies depending on the number of players. So even with two or some games just don't play that well with 2 or 3. But Way of the Bear, actually the board shrinks so that with 2 players you're playing on a reduced spot. My wife and I actually play Way of the Bear all the time, 2-player, and it's a challenging and fun experience. So
cool. That looks like another one that would be a great demo game on a table, is having all those little bears involved, and again that tactile feeling of, I want to check this out, I want to know what they're doing. So Stephen Buck just made a very good pun. I said character, he said don't you mean character. So you can trademark that and thank Stephen Buck for that.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention about Robin of Locksley real quick is that Robin of Locksley is actually a 2-player game, and I know that there's a lot of people that are interested in 2-player games. So, and again, Uwe Rosenberg, quite the designer pedigree.
Yeah.
The Grid Club names a few other games, but that'll be another. I think Robin of Locksley is going to be super popular. It's a pretty game, and it's just been printed and will be available probably towards the end of November.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys have a lot coming out that is not just really good and really good looking, but it's stuff that speaks to every type of gamer, right? You have things that are for the high strategy gamers, you have things that are for the mid strategy gamers, you have things for the family gamers. You've got, tried and true, easily several evergreens between Power Grid and Concordia and of course Dominion and things like that. So if you're a retailer and haven't carried anything from Rio Grande before, definitely do take the time to check them out. Apart from the 2 games that are on sale this week, they have a tremendously awesome catalog. I know me personally, just for me and my taste, I cannot wait for Tom Lehman next year. I am very, very excited about it. I think that game is going to be a gangbuster game for you guys. The whole concept of building your dice is really cool, but when you combine it with that, most every game Ryan loves, I think that's going to be. We do have somebody. There we go. Just got him on mute. No worries. Had a little background noise there. Awesome. That is all the questions that have come in right now. I do want to take a second and just remind all the retailers that if you have time this week to order or pre-order either Underwater Cities or Butterfly, we're going to have a special of 52% off MSRP between today, Monday, the 21st of October, and next Monday, the 28th of October, 2019. I should say 2019, because technically these are recorded and put on YouTube. So if somebody's watching it in 2023, sorry. We're more than likely we'll still have Underwater City still moving at that point. It's a very, very good game, so it wouldn't surprise me at all, but always good to put that caveat on there. So definitely reach out to your sales reps, let them know you're interested in the game. They'll be able to get you set up with the discounts. And as always, it's a great thing to get a little extra margin. It's a great thing to get a little extra margin when we're talking about the holidays as well. So Scott, I know, Scott, you said earlier about your email of Scott at Rio Grande Games to contact you for any kind of demos or anything like that. If retailers do want to reach out to you guys, is there like a generic sales email or a generic info email that they can reach out to you at?
Not really.
Okay.
We're working on that. It's we do hope to have a more generic email box. Best way to reach us right now is, again, if you have customer service issues, that kind of stuff, we have a link on the website.
Okay.
Always welcome to email me directly. I'm at ken@riograndegames.com. Scott is scott@riograndegames.com. Sorry, it's so complicated, but
that's okay. As long as it's short and easy. I did just put that into chat as well. So any of the retailers, if you want to go ahead and copy that and save it for a later date, you're more than welcome to. And we'll make sure to have that in the video recorded version as well, so people can get to the links and everything for that. So awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Really do appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's always great to learn about, the things that we know a little more about right now, but also seeing the kind of the insights into what's coming for the remainder of the year. It sounds like it's going to be a really, really good Q4 for all the games you have coming out, and then also a lot of really good stuff for next year. Retailers, definitely want to thank you. Of course, it's always a challenge with schedules, especially around the holidays, to kind of find some free time and take a half hour to an hour out of your schedule. So really do appreciate you all taking the time. Just as a quick note to retailers, want to let you know, especially if you've attended a lot of these in the past, we're getting ready to do kind of an end of year survey about the webinars. So hopefully we will be able to catch any kind of feedback from you about, what's good, what's working, what we should double down on, what we should stay away from, things like that. I know a lot of you have asked me to grow my hair back. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I've tried for almost 10 years and it hasn't worked. So I'm just focusing on this now instead of the top of my head. So, but I really do appreciate everyone taking the time. And Ken and Scott, thank you again very much. And we really do appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, Scott.
All right. You guys have a wonderful week, and all the retailers have a great time in your stores this week. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right. Bye now.